I know it can be a challenge to take a break like that and just kind of hit the ground running coming back. What was the message coming back in when guys were kind of coming off that break? You had a good situation where both you and Pittsburgh were in the exact same deal.
We were the exact same playing field, so from that standpoint, it was fair. Got a good practice in, flew to Pittsburgh, had a morning skate. Everybody thought that it would be sloppy, and the first period in Pittsburgh was a little bit sloppy, but after that I thought it was an exciting game. They had a push in the second, we had a strong push in the third, should have won that game. The other game against Colorado, everybody thought that Colorado would be struggling off the start, but to the contrary, I mean, they had 2 full practices. I don't remember the last time we had 2 full practices 2 days in a row. So they had 2 good practices. They had a morning skate. They threw so much speed at us in that first 10 minutes. Our goaltender was phenomenal, kept us in, and permitted us to win that game. And, from there we moved on to Detroit and did what we had to do to win that game.
The goaltender you alluded to was Alex Lyon. He gives you a real quality start. You come away with a win over against a really good team, a legit cup contender in Colorado. Talk about your goaltending this year. Brian Elliott's got 2 shutouts in his last 3 games. Having that veteran presence to him, especially with a younger goalie like Carter Hart's paying dividends.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that goaltending is such an important part of the game today. You need your goaltenders to give you a chance. You need your goaltenders to perform. And on nights like Colorado is an example where you're not right there, you're looking for your legs and you're looking for your hands to make some plays. Goalie's got to come up and make some saves, and there's no doubt that Alex did that. And our goaltending from there's no doubt Brian Elliott has been outstanding for us. He's come in, he's given us good leadership in the dressing room, but he's given us solid performances. And most of the people that look to Brian look to a healthy Brian this year, where he's come in good shape, health-wise. He's been real good all year, and that combined with him helping Carter has been a big bonus. Carter obviously is learning the game, learning the NHL game. I don't even think he's got 50 games experience in this league, or he's close to it, or something like that. But obviously, he's been capable of playing real well at home. On the road, it's a work in progress, but he's got so much potential, so much talent that hopefully we'll get him back soon, and we'll be able to continue to work with Carter.
How about team defense in conjunction with the goaltending situation? I mean, Detroit is obviously struggling this year, but you guys were able to keep them to just 16 shots in that game, and it seems to be an overall solid effort. I know Chuck wanted to get the goals against down this year, and that's obviously happened.
I mean, if you look at our group, we're a group that can have success if team first mentality. We don't have anybody in the top 30 in scoring in the forwards or defense. But we are right now in the top 10 as far as goals against, and that's done with a team first attitude. Like for us, there are some what we call non-negotiables. Playing without the puck, there's certain things that you have to do on the forecheck, on the back check, and the D zone coverage that are non-negotiable that we have to do as a group. With the puck, obviously, we've got some skilled players. A couple guys who've got a little bit more liberty than some other guys to try and make different plays. But for the most part, we've got some principles, some cues that we want our players to make sure that they understand and they execute. And so far, I mean, they have. We've been able to, play some good hockey. It's permitting us to be right there in the thick of things. We're in the toughest division in the NHL. It's challenging, but I think it's making our group better, and we've got a great opportunity here as we move forward, and our guys are ready for it.
What's the biggest difference you see from the beginning of the year to now in what you've implemented system-wise, which maybe they weren't grasping early? Is it back pressure, as you alluded to, on the back check, those type of things?
I would say, since day one, we've tried to install certain principles, non-negotiables, and it takes a while for a player, even if you're a 10 or 12-year player like Claude Giroux or Jake Voracek. It takes a while to understand and to see it, to process it. just like when you're driving your car, you know when it's time to press on the gas and you know when it's time to press on the brakes. You see the lights. It's sort of the same thing on the ice. Guys see a situation, they know they should be going here, this route. So once they understand, the reaction time on the ice is much quicker, makes us play at a faster pace with and without the puck. And that's where I think we've evolved, and I still think we've got room for growth because we've got some good young players that have, in my mind, not reached their full potential. We've got some veteran players that are that really want to win, that really are buying into the right way of playing, and if we put all that together, it makes for a strong push and playoff berth, and everything's possible.
So you want them to be instinctual, because if you think out there, you're in real trouble, and that takes a little time.
Yeah, it does, and that's why sometimes some people don't quite grasp it. But our group is understanding what we're looking for as far as with and without the puck, and I believe that our game has gotten quicker to check, quicker with the puck, and it's going to continue to improve. You need that personality in the dressing room. We've got a few of those. With his addition, it just makes our room better. You got to have fun. This is a game.
Yeah.
And, guys are coming to the rink. They're working hard. They're having fun. Best way to have fun, as far as I know, is winning. Winning brings a lot of that. But Kevin's got a good personality, and he's obviously grown with our group, and I think our fans are slowly but surely getting to know him also.
That refereeing experience helps, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, no question. One of the guys, and you referred to 5-on-5 play, number 14, Sean Couturier. Boy, he looks like he's stepped both feet into his prime right now. He's playing tremendous hockey. He's leading the NHL since October 29th in 5-on-5 points. You're talking over names like McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, MVP, Hart candidates. Talk about what you've seen out of his game, and what did you learn that maybe you didn't know? Seeing him from afar, when you see him up close, is even better.
I was fortunate I was able to coach him this year at the World Championship, so I had an idea of what I was getting with him. But I will say that he has exceeded my expectations. As far as I knew he was a strong overall player, like a great 200-foot game. But like his consistency, the way he prepares, the way he comes to play, the way he understands the game. He's got some, if ever at some point he would want to coach, he's got that mindset. He sees the game. He understands it. He can relate it well with his teammates. So for me, as a coach, he's a great extension of what we're trying to do. So when we're not in the room, he understands it. He can pass the message along to his teammates, and you need that. You need to have an extension of the coaching staff in that room at all times. With him, G, Hazy, and Jake, we've got some good voices there that are positive and that are sending the right message.
Do you have a line outside your door, your office, of guys going, I want to get on the wing with him? Schmitty could pot a couple on the wing with him.
It's amazing. Everybody that we have played with him this year has really played well and improved their game. That's just shows the type of player he is.
He impacts all zones.
And there's no doubt. But we also, like what I'm getting from him, I also need to get from G. I need to get from TK. I need to have guys that when whoever plays with Coots, whoever plays with G, whoever plays with Jake are better players, because those guys make them better players. You need that on a team, and without a doubt, Coots is rubbing off on a lot of guys.
You talked a little bit earlier in the season about 5-on-5 and being a plus team at 5-on-5, +1 right now. What's your thought on how the team has grown in that quest?
Yeah, I mean, I think that overall, the defensive part of our game has been good. What's happened, I think, and why our numbers are so marginal or average, at +1, is I think we've had a couple real challenging games on the road, which has skewed, we are chasing the game, and when you're chasing the game, a lot of times you got to take some chances. But other than those few little periods, if you look at our overall games, they've been pretty good. We've been pretty consistent. Our last 3 road games, we went into St. Louis. We got a big win there. We went into Pitt. We got a big point. Should have won that game. Went into Detroit. So I think we're turning the corner there as a group, and I would say a big part of that again is goaltending. Goaltending. If you're for whatever reasons you're off a little bit early on, if you get those couple of saves that permit you to just get a little bit of rhythm, a couple of shifts under your belt there, it makes a big difference. And we obviously got that in St. Louis, in Pitt, in Detroit, and hopefully we can continue to get some of those.
Professional coaches in sports, if they're too rigid, that's a problem. You're a guy that's very open-minded. The road woes are something that you've experimented with, from do we do a morning skate? Do we arrive at a different time? Do we prepare the same way? What, in your opinion, as things maybe starting to turn in that regard, has been the difference, or is it just kind of this is hockey and that's the way things play out sometimes?
Yeah, it is hockey and it is the way it plays out, but you do have to look at different things, different options sometimes, and test the waters. And one of the things is us as a coaching staff, other than Lappy, we're all new to this group, finding out about the group, finding out what makes players tick, what works better, different types of meetings. Sometimes some meetings are more stern, direct message. Sometimes they need to be a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more positive, better video. So we're going through the whole different scenarios. We're only at game 53. We found out a lot about our group, and as we move forward, we're going to find out more. Who can play under pressure? Who can make those plays? When the game is 2-2, what are you doing for me? Like, are you making the right play at the right time defensively and offensively? We're going to find out. I've got a lot of positive belief in this group. I've pushed them. They've responded well. There's definitely a sense here that want to win. Let's get in, and they're working very hard for it.
A lot of young guys coming through this year, and picking out one is just with Joel Farabee, what he's done lately. What have you seen out of his game in these last few games? Is he starting to just be more comfortable at the NHL level?
I mean, Joel's a young player that, is learning how to become a pro. And with that, there are going to be some ups and downs. Becoming a pro is about consistency in all areas, not just in hockey, but in whether you're an accountant, whether you're a doctor, whatever you do. When you're talking about becoming a professional, you're talking about being consistent, being able to bring it day in and day out. Joel is playing the most hockey he's ever played in his life. He's probably played more games so far this year than he ever has in the past. That's a challenge. It's a challenge physically. It's a challenge mentally. But I like the young man. Like, he has come back from the break. We had to sit him out that one game in St. Louis for cap situations, and really that break for him was good, was beneficial. It gave him mental, it gave him a physical break. Ever since then, you see his game trending forward. The break that he got during the time off, I think, will be positive for him, and hopefully moving forward, he's a guy that I've used throughout our lineup, depending on how well he's playing. And right now he's on one of those trends where he's playing real well, and hopefully he continues.
And 11 shot attempts the other night. I mean, obviously he's comfortable putting it on net.
No, he's not, and he's playing with, two pretty good players in Coots and Jake. A lot of times young players would have a tendency to want to dish out to those guys, but you love his confidence. You love the fact that, he wants to be the shooter, and full marks on that. And I really love his attitude and the way he's working hard. He's got to continue. He's still trying to figure it out. I say this many times about young players. Some guys figure it out, some other guys don't. A lot of guys, maybe with more talent than Joel, haven't figured it out and weren't able to stay in the NHL. I think right now he's on the right track, and he needs to continue.
One of the things that's been really refreshing with your presence here as the head coach has been the level of accountability that's shown. And you've been critical of all players on your roster, whether they're making all the money or the guys that are rookies in this league. You got to earn everything you get, and you got to do your job. But the thing I think that's impressed people the most is that when you do that, you've had those conversations one-on-one with these guys prior. You're not pulling any punches. And how's that kind of gone over with your group?
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've always been. And when people say that I'm being critical, I would say I'm just stating the facts. I'm not.
It's on tape.
I'm not inventing anything. I'm just stating the obvious. whether you want to say that's being critical or whatever. But there's no doubt that I think right now we're holding our group to a high standard. Accountability is there. Accountability between players is getting much better. And
Peer
I think,
accountability?
I think that's probably the one that you're striving to get as a group. If you're ever going to become a winning team, that internal accountability between teammates is so high. Nobody wants to let anybody down. That's what we're working towards. We're taking steps. We're not there yet. We're taking steps, and we're on the right way.
As we approach the deadline here and get into the home stretch of the season, obviously you've had lots of experience taking teams into the playoffs. What do you tell these guys as we get closer to the postseason, especially in this situation where it's going to be a dogfight to the very end?
I would say, like, what I'm telling you is what I've told the guys. We focus on one game at a time. I like our group. I don't expect anything coming from the outside. I'm focused on the players that we have here within our organization and the players that we have in Lehigh Valley, that we've seen a couple guys coming up and down that I know that if we need them, they can come in here and contribute. So we're focused on now. We're focused on our team. We're focused on improving. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a battle. There's great competition here. All teams. I mean, I look at our division is so strong. I think we're 9th in the league right now,
Yeah.
but we're 6th in our division. Or
7 of the top 10 teams are from the East, too.
It's challenging, but it makes you better, and that's what we're up against, and we got to deal with it.
You've coached over 1,200 games in this league, well over, and you came to Philadelphia as the opposition coach many a time. And this city has a reputation, and it's well-earned. Now, being on the side where the fans are behind you, what's your experience been like in Philadelphia, both at the rink, in the building during games, and off the ice as well?
It's been outstanding. I mean, I've been lucky as a head coach. Coached the Montreal Canadiens, original 6 New York Rangers, original 6 Vancouver Canucks, a Canadian team. All those teams had great followings. I would say the Habs and the Rangers, sort of a cult-like, when you go on the road, there were always fans. Well, with Philly, you're as close as you can be to an original 6, and when we're on the road, tons of Philly fans, all behind us. At home, the atmosphere that we've had in our building has been incredible. I love it. I live in Old City. It's a beautiful place. You walk around, people are supportive. They're behind the team. People want the team to win. Geez, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what we all want. So
It's a result business.
Yeah, exactly. So I've seen nothing but support. I've heard nothing but support, and that's great. And now it's up to us as coaches and players to go out there and do our jobs.
Well, I know that the fans are behind you guys, and they're looking forward to hopefully you guys getting in the playoffs and making a lot of noise. And God forbid if you go against Pittsburgh, that's where coaches become legend in this town. You get a little battle with Mike Sullivan going. He's doing a pretty nice job over there.
Mike Couturier really knows about the Philly and the Pittsburgh battles. He's talked to me about that a few times, and I was fortunate to be on the right side when I was coaching New York. My first playoff round was against Philly. We won that in 7. It was a tough.
1-0 Game 7 with Steve Mason.
It was a great series. It was hard fought by both teams. I've got great feelings, moving forward. I'm really optimistic about our group. I like the way we're headed, and we're going to meet the challenge head on.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure.
Best of luck in the coming weeks here. As you got, I guess, 29 games left, is it? At this point?
Exactly.
29.
Exactly.
Well, it's going to be interesting and it's going to be tight. Thanks for doing this, Alain.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.